Se terminó nuestro amor divino. Mis amigos, les declaré, les diré que estoy seguro que es un hombre sin nada más, sin un señor, con lágrimas. Debe decir, debe gritar, debe sentir, en la verdad, luché, gané, sobre nadie lo hice mal. Hello. I know size can be daunting, but don't be afraid. I love you. I love you!
Hello and welcome back to We Bought a Mic, a pop culture penguin cast for Good Mic Hunting, a series on the films of Mr. Robin Williams, esteemed actor, comedian, avian, water-based animal, half bird, half fish.
Half bird, half like seal.
Sure.
So you know, penguins are just full birds, right? They aren't another creature mixed with it.
Like if they were real.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Honestly,
wait, are you one of those guys that thinks that like birds are part of like a government conspiracy to spy on us?
I think that SeaWorld does a really good job with the animatronics. In the Arctic exhibit.
and they just like ran away into the world.
Yeah.
And they're just loose flying around.
SeaWorld created penguins.
After the success of Happy Feet.
People don't know this, but penguins actually didn't exist until 2006.
We're talking Happy Feet, boys. Welcome. My name's Ernest.
I am Tu Papi Penguino himself, Hunter. And that's as much as you're getting out of me today.
I'm Drew.
Okay.
No, you're...
Drew, what if your thing was like, I can't talk on podcasts. I just have to dance in the background around you guys.
Words don't do this movie justice. Drew's going to have to tap dance. And joining us today, a special guest returning. He
Howdy.
Is very worried about the state of the overfishing problem.
It's my number one concern.
He can't sing.
The death of ska and overfishing in the Arctic.
His voice sounds like a dying squeal when he tries to sing, but man, he can dance.
That would make you perfect for ska.
Welcome back to the show, Dane. How you doing?
I'm doing as good as I can be doing while I'm sick, but I'm here. I had a day full of penguins, and that was a time.
Did you watch Happy Feet 2?
I considered that, and I opted to instead watch like 10 straight hours of Happy Feet.
Oh, on a loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Well, so I never had really seen the movie the entire way through, but I'd seen like the first like hour of it on repeat many times.
At what point did you stop?
So just right before he went to where the humans were.
Okay.
Which, by the way,
like chased the boat.
Maybe
is that the halfway? Is that the half? I feel like that's
like,
over
it's like
halfway.
the 2/3 mark. Dane, was this for you? Was this a we have a substitute teacher in today, and we just got to put on something to kill the next 52 minutes until they change periods movie? Because this is kind of what this was for me.
Big time sub movie for me.
And that would line up to about the timing of when you're saying that you have seen this movie.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen 55 minutes of this movie many times.
I would watch it with my cousin who just wanted to watch the penguins dance, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Most of the dancing is in the first 2/3 of the movie, and then
when the
it
overfishing
switches to heavy, Like,
and then you're
rough.
like, it's a George Martin movie. That's right. Okay,
George Martin, the
George
producer,
R.R. Martin,
the producer of the Beatles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that tracks.
Yeah. This movie was unhinged enough to be a substitute movie, though.
Sure.
In my book, it's weird.
Happy Feet is the heartwarming tale of a neurodivergent penguin learning the art of Riz.
Well, it's about how he wants to express himself in an oppressive society.
It's about being a gay autistic boy, okay? And just a society that doesn't understand. And so it's basically like if you lived in Footloose Town and also you were a gay autistic penguin who never really like grew to look like the other penguins. You still look fuzzy.
Dane,
because that's how we know that you're the main character.
You're also like really into aliens, and that's been like a recurring theme throughout your life. Is that aliens exist and you have to find
no one will believe you.
Yeah, sort of a hyperfixation, if you will. So,
like you're taking it a little
please see
far.
exhibit one of this.
Stemming.
So, Dane, did you choose this movie because you were dropped as an egg?
That's among the reasons, but it's mostly it was a good excuse to finally watch the end of it and like, holy shit, I'm glad I watched the end of it.
Because it'd always been nagging in the back of your head, like, how does that movie end?
Well, it's like, as I was watching it the first time, it's like, oh, this is like coming back to me. And like the jokes that I remembered from when I was like 11, I'm like, oh yeah, that was funny to me then. And I'm still laughing at it now. And then also, I didn't realize how fucking sexual the entire movie is.
Dude, I love sexy penguins. You can tell a penguin whenever they're hot because they saunter.
Oh, mama.
They just like throw their shoulders back with it.
She calls him daddy.
There's like a
daddy,
there's
mama.
a moment and they're like meet cute where like they jump out of the water and they just like do a bunch of like sex positions. And the more and more I watched it, the funnier it got.
It's so hot.
They like literally, they like scissor at one point in the water.
Yeah.
Like they just. I don't know how intercourse works.
Graphic.
I don't know how intercourse works for penguins, and I'm not going to look that up.
I think it's like worms,
but
where
it
they just like slither
close.
on each other.
They bud. Asexually.
They just like spit from their like guts. They just spit fish back and forth, like whole fish into each other's mouths.
I like how the male penguin has to take care of the egg. Very progressive of them.
I think that it actually kind of shows how men are the more oppressed of the genders.
Yeah, is this like all the videos that you watch on YouTube, Dane?
Dane, did you choose this movie because you're a proud boy yourself and you actually want to show about the oppressed white male experience?
What does Tim Pool think about Happy Feet?
He probably is like, oh, this is just about happy dancing penguins and nobody wants to see this neoliberal propaganda.
Yeah, he
was on board until the humans came and he's like, fuck.
Even then he would be like, no, like being weird is not okay.
Oh yeah.
He'd be more the Hugo Weaving type.
He would be like, if we like young boys shouldn't have it this way. They shouldn't be allowed to be weird because I wasn't allowed to be weird.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't know if this has come up on previous Dane episodes, listeners. If this is your first time listening to a Dane guest episode, he's not a blue check cuck shill. It's
I am not. I'm just a masochist.
It's a bit.
It's completely different.
Well, maybe it was a bit, and now you're like too deep and you can't get out.
You're living in red country and you just can't. You're inundated with it.
I was watching Tim Pool before we started recording.
Oh my God.
I was watching
you got Happy Feet on one monitor and Tim Pool on the other. Holy shit.
Dane, you're
so deranged.
Your fixations are getting out of control, Dane. We need to talk about it. But we can't say shit because you live in a blue state and we unfortunately live in a red state.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
At the end of the day.
Damn,
we can't say anything.
I was wondering why your eyes look sad. It's because you lost Tucker recently.
That must have been a huge loss for you. You want to speak on that? We can just carve out the next hour.
Can we just turn this into Dane's thoughts on Fox News? I remember when Tucker took over for Bill O'Reilly. That's how long I've been watching Fox News. The 8 o'clock slot.
I ended up watching a lot of Bill as a kid because it was on in my house.
Yeah,
and never was a big fan of the guy.
Why are the
Well, I didn't
over?
like the way they looked, but I did think they got a lot of good points across.
Remember how fucking stupid it was that Jon Stewart would like tour the country with him and they do like a dual 2-man show?
Yeah, Bush's
Man,
America.
That was
dude.
a pre-Trump America.
They really solved some problems with that. I'm sure Stewart looks back on that lovingly.
What would a Tucker penguin be like in this movie? Why are the penguins dancing?
Yeah.
Who told them that they could dance?
Oh, and now the penguins are sauntering at me. What am I supposed to be aroused by these penguins?
Where did the fish go? Who took the fish?
These shorter illegal penguins have taught our pure tall penguins their mating rituals, and it's demonic.
And this is why we should build a border around Emperor Land to keep out these little Latino penguins
that are okay with dancing.
Our purebred imperial race of penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Who told them that they could just have no issue with spontaneous movement of the penguin body?
Oh, now look, the woke left wants to make it so I'm not sexually aroused. I'm not jacking off to these penguins anymore.
So
we're only on minute 13.
That's
Jesus Christ. So Happy Feet is a movie about the story
So
of
Happy
Mumble,
Feet.
who goes on a journey to discover himself.
I back it up a bit. Before we even get to Mumble, we have Nicole Kidman and our boy Hugh Jackman. Austin Butler should be playing royalties to Hugh Jackman as Memphis in this movie. Mama, mama, come on over here,
Daddy?
Mama. Daddy.
Anna de Armas is right there. just taking notes from Nicole Kidman's performance.
Wait, Ernie, you're pretty good at the editing things. Can you deep fake and just put Austin Butler's voice as Hugh Jackman's quotes and then Anna de Armas as Nicole Kidman's
Coming
voice
out of a penguin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Okay.
that's
That should
definitely
be
like
easy.
a deep fake situation that you're describing.
Yeah, that's deep fake, right? I'd be like, oh my God, Anna de Armas became a penguin? What?
So, the origin story of Mumble, alarmingly similar to Bo from
Yeah.
Bo's Afraid.
Well, also, we start in space.
Origin story.
We zoom in through the solar system.
Yeah, and we also end in space. The credit sequence.
That's true.
So,
The song of the heart.
so we're not going to answer why because there's
It's George Miller. He doesn't give a single fuck.
Yeah,
He's
it's-
like, we're in space. Doesn't matter.
Sure, whatever.
I want the title card in the sun.
Generally, this movie. So, shortly before this, like in 2005, March of the Penguins released. It was weirdly a smash hit, like for a documentary. Like I feel like every kid saw it for whatever reason. It was well marketed. I liked it as a kid. I liked
was a
March
big
of the
fan of it.
Penguins. And then Penguins just had a zillennial moment, for a couple years there. I think we need to run this by Adam and Kira, of course, hosts of Zillennial Canon. I think Penguins as a whole, zillennial.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, yeah, because the Madagascar penguins,
So
those
can-
are super
Those are
surreal.
huge.
Surfs Up.
Oh my
Surf's Up
god.
Surf's Up is the near perfect movie.
Surfs Up comes 1 year after this in 07.
Surf's Up is ska adjacent, isn't it?
There's so much Green Day in
I was
that
like-
soundtrack.
I was like-
close the movie on New Radicals.
Yeah, the trailer had "Welcome to Paradise."
Nice. Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody definitely uploaded all of Surf's Up as like a flash file inside of like addicting games. You could just watch it like on like
it's-
480p.
I have to say this now because I don't want to forget this. So all of Happy Feet 2 is available on YouTube in 4-minute segments.
Oh,
and
so
that's
you
how
watched it?
I watched Happy Feet 2 on YouTube at 4 minutes at a time with an occasional ad. In between.
That's like some Dane viewing habits.
I know. I could just pay the $3 to rent it, and I was like, no, I actually want to see if I get the entirety of Happy Feet 2. I was like, oh no, they're actually playing all of Happy Feet 2 right now. No breaks.
The mentality is just like, let's be as depraved as possible to watch a sequel to a movie that like probably shouldn't have been made.
Well, we can. Should
We're
we talk
gonna
about
get-
Happy Feet 2 right now?
Well,
or should
no.
we save it?
Let's save thoughts on Happy Feet 2
Because that's a fucking crazy movie.
it's insane. And I kind of, once again, I gotta just say, shout out to our boy George Miller here, because this could just be like generic jukebox musical, because that's another thing of in the 2000s are huge for this jukebox musical kind of movement. Really started strong with Moulin Rouge in 2003-ish or so, where people are like, I want musicals, but only if I already know the songs. That's the musicals that I want to see. And this is kind of like the ultimate kids version of this. I remember because growing up as a kid, and still to this day, like penguins are my favorite animal. And yes, I was there before the fucking Zillennial movement. Okay, guys.
I think you led it.
I think I did. But I remember by the time Happy Feet came out, I wanted to be like, I was in middle school and I wanted to be like the edgy kid who's like, actually, March of the Penguins is a better penguin film than this children's film, Happy Feet. I'm beyond the animation. And my dad saw Happy Feet because this movie was a fucking hit. My dad went and saw Happy Feet without me and told me that I should check it out as a child.
Just to get you.
Yeah. Just because that's how big this movie was. It grossed what, $400 million or something like that?
384.
Yeah. But for a non-Disney animated film in the mid 2000s,
yeah, Warner Brothers, on $100 million budget with I think is that high for an animated movie? Or is that pretty standard?
high? I mean, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers like was banking on this.
You got to think like Robin is probably charging a good paycheck for this. He's doing
Elijah Wood.
Coming off of Lord of the Rings.
This is hot off of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is his like, they're like, so what are you going to do next, Elijah? And he's like, well, I have this penguin film coming out.
I know it's not fair to do, but in terms of, comparisons, but Finding Nemo's budget was $94 million and it looks fucking hella
so
better
much
than
better
this
than
shit.
There's some really rough parts of this movie.
The opening sequence of this movie looks like shit. And somehow it gets better, which rarely happens.
Yeah.
But when they first fired up, when their tongues, when they sing, I was like, oh boy.
No, Lee was out.
Yeah.
She was like, I can't watch this. I need to leave.
She was telling us that you had a big blowout fight over this. Where you were like throwing shit at the walls and like like beating the dog. Because she was like, yeah, this is like a fucking kids movie, and you were like, it's cinema.
It's George Miller.
I like the penguins dancing and singing. What do you want from me? They're singing and dancing.
Also included, by the way, in the penguin wave, we have to mention Farce of the Penguins.
Oh, the Bob Saget.
No, we don't have to.
But yeah,
that.
beloved Bob Saget redubbing of
oh, that's right, it's a redub
of some penguin documentary footage, really iconic, featuring the likes of Dane Cook and Carlos Mencia. Great film. Rest in peace, Bob.
R.I.P. I'll never forget actually watching Farce of the Penguins, a movie that I never actually saw until like 3 years ago.
So we get a really like a weirdly standard like kids movie story just told via penguins in this movie. It's
kind of a hero's journey of sorts.
Well, it's just like the class, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's all that shit. It's fucking Troy Bolton in High School Musical. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And everyone's like, no, son, come on. You can't dance, son.
Mama.
He's just neurodivergent. That's all.
Son. Oh, son, you gotta stop squawking, son.
You gotta have a little more tremble.
Mama. Doctor, my son is stimming all over the ground. He grows up all funky. He is big.
He drops the egg.
You get fucking dropped as a kid.
That's the thing. The dad's like got no one to blame.
Blaming your kid for being born with FAS. Like you can't get fucking mad at the child at that point.
Yeah,
you did this,
Mom. Stop getting mad at me for forgetting things. It's
you just had to have that second glass of wine though, didn't you?
Yeah, it's just like, the weirdo is outcast, and then everyone slowly learns that actually it's fucking epic the shit that he can do.
They definitely don't explain like why he still looks like a baby when he grows up, like his feathers.
Yeah, I have so many questions about that.
What's up with that?
I like they had to have just done that so it's easier to tell which one is the main character.
That's a good call. Yeah, it's just.
Because they all look the same.
But like you could have given him just more of a different like signifier than that. That is the biggest, more than him not being able to sing. That's the sign that he got dropped on his fucking head as a kid. Like the
never
fact
got
that
developed.
you just you know, it just looks like there's something that just didn't in the development track that was supposed to take place. Like something didn't quite happen there.
Speak on that. Keep going.
In the penguin community.
He's a damn queer.
So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of
goddamn tap dancer.
Well, I wanted to talk about that a little bit because this is why it's a weird juxtaposition. It never, as a child, a bit of it never fully connected.
The allegory,
me. Just the fact that it's like penguins, and it's like, well, you know, that one thing we all know about penguins is they sing, and then
do they?
Sounds like a person who doesn't know shit about penguins.
No, I mean they do all have like a call that their partner can recognize them by.
They are monogamous though, right?
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, and they do have the call, and so someone took that information and stretched it into this. Well, what if there was one who could dance?
What if they sang like pop songs?
So the tap dancing, it takes a good while for that to click. Like I think it's really when people start doing it en masse, as you start really vibing with the dancing.
No,
oh my God.
No, when he's like a fucking baby.
Yes,
yeah, when he's a baby in the birds and he's just like grooving.
He's so good.
Dude,
his first dance.
Shout out to Fat Joe, our boy, who I will say, our guy Fat Joe, who's in this movie, plays, I think his name's Seymour.
Yeah. Don't push me because I am close.
R.I.P. Fat Joe got replaced by Common in the sequel. Big L for our guy.
That's
there.
Not great.
Yeah. No. I think
Brittany Murphy. She passed away, right?
Yeah. R.I.P. Brittany Murphy.
Yeah. She's really good in this.
I think that she's good in it. I will say, in the sequel, Pink does all of the singing parts
because Brittany Murphy doesn't sing.
Good call.
So I did want to say that I actually think that Brittany Murphy is a good voice actor whenever she's not singing. Her singing voice isn't bad, but it's one of those things where
it's not. It's you want a singer. You want somebody to be the lead singer.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Being the main voice of Gloria in the sequel, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You want like that bravado voice to kind of come through. And Pink's done a bunch of animated voice work, so like that makes sense. You want to have. I was trying to think in 2006. I guess Pink was around, obviously, but like. Maybe like, could we have gotten Christina Aguilera to like voice
that's exactly the name that popped into my head.
Like in 06?
I'm like, is he gonna say it?
Yeah.
That's who I would.
That's
pick.
literally the number one search when you search 2006 pop stars.
So
bang, there you go. I was on the pulse then.
Having done no research,
Brittany was the dream, but I knew Brittany. We couldn't get her.
I got a weird vibe that like when she started singing, they replaced Brittany Murphy with like a woman of color, and that like nowadays the amount that would not fly in any way, much like Penguin.
There's a lot of that in this movie, just in general.
Well, I mean, we haven't gotten
early 2000s movie.
We haven't gotten to Robinho.
Hey, Senor Robin.
Is that problematic? I don't know.
Let's talk Robin. I mean, Dane, you picked this movie. You could have picked a couple different ones. Were you thinking Robin when you picked this, or were you thinking more like I need to watch the last 30 minutes of Happy Feet?
Truthfully, I didn't even know Robin Williams was in the movie.
It's a Robin Williams series.
I know. And as soon as I saw it on the list, it's like, oh, Robin Williams is in there. Like, what voice is he? He's got several roles.
He's got two.
I think it's more than two though.
Is Lovelace the narrator? Because he's credited as the narrator.
Lovelace is the narrator. So he's technically, well, I guess it's two voices, but kind of three roles.
He does various background roles.
Yes.
Too. Like when they're in that world.
You can hear him as just like Penguin number 6, in a line of voices, where he's just doing normal voice.
Cletus is another character. Yeah. Ramon, Cletus, Lovelace, and narrator. So Robin, what's your Robin take?
What's my Robin take is that I honestly was not a fan of most of the voice acting in this movie. It all seemed pretty rough. There were the two people that stood out to me were Robin Williams, obviously, because he just exuded talent, and was funny no matter what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hugh Jackman actually, like, I enjoyed
Dude, Hugh
that.
Jackman's great.
Mama.
Hugh Jackman killed it.
I think
And the rest of the voice acting is kind of like, ugh.
It is. We like you were talking about Elijah Wood before we started.
It's not good.
Haven't
casting.
we talked about Elijah? Or is the only Elijah stuff we talked about Lord of the Rings?
Well, I don't think that we've talked about anything else. I will say, because I don't think it's great in this. It's really rough in Happy Feet 2, where he's supposed to be like the paternal character. And he's just like, Eric, come back here, son. And you're like, I don't buy this at all. It's not great. It's not
Father.
great.
I don't know if it's really like his fault. I think there's a lot of problems with the script.
What? What do you mean by that?
I think like
what do you mean?
Dialogue wise.
It's like
I have a lot of thoughts about this movie.
It's a pretty, a pretty standard, like kind of canned kids movie script for the most part.
I think there are parts of it that are incredible. And I think what that means is that there were talented people that had limited control. And I think there's an awful lot of corporate bullshit that got thrown into the movie that waters down
like
the
what?
quality to me. I feel like they should have gone more radical.
Interesting. This is a good take. No, I like this take. Yeah, so you're speaking with like the third act stuff when it gets into like the human
go radical like kill them.
They're already getting weird. Let's go all the way, baby. Like I would have preferred Penguin Uprising, kill the humans. That would have been a much more subversive ending and probably made it a better movie.
I think the fact that human stuff is even in the movie is radical enough for 2006.
It's pretty radical for 2006. And that's what I'll give it. But it feels like they were held back by.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is not going to allow like massive swings.
Yeah, this goes.
And that, it's a swing. But I feel like if you're taking a swing in this sense, you should like go big.
I think eco-terrorism.
I think Happy Feet 2 is a bigger swing, not in terms of like the allegory, but in terms of like general storytelling conventions. Like that movie is not really about penguins.
It's not really like about anything. It's kind of like an existential crisis of a movie.
That's when he gets his swing. Like he tells a story about two krill.
I described this beat for beat to Drew before we were kind of this.
I know, and I'm equally interested now.
Matt Damon and Brad Pitt play two krill that like want to have meaning outside of their krill swarm.
They're looking for just having existential crisis about everything around them, about just being part of the whole, and needing some individuality.
And guess what, buddy?
In their life.
They find it.
Yeah, they do.
They fucking find it, man, and it's fucking amazing.
Tectonic shift. I had fun with this movie for the most part. Like, this was kind of a movie that I was just like, I watch like, I'm a fan of like a dumb kids movie if it's done well. Like if it's like a true kids movie, which that's the difference between something like this and versus something like Super Mario Brothers, the worst movie of 2023 so far, because that's like a movie that's for neckbeards. It's not actually for kids, and it's masquerading as a children's film. This movie is like a kids movie. It's for kids, and it has like big ideas in it. The third act like kind of blew me away while watching it, not in terms of like its unbelievable quality or something like that, but it was just we're actually going for it. Like the moment that he just like swam away into the ocean and then eventually ends up on a beach and is in like the zoo in Florida. I think it's
Australia.
No, it's zoos in on Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
We're gonna have to guess what zoo it is. If it's like the Miami Zoo, if we think
it looked like it was around like Central Florida somewhere, but it looked like it was more on the West Coast. Not that that's important, but
all of that shit happens really quickly. Like they zoom through a lot of plot there. when we've had a whole movie of just like tippity tap and zippity zay.
Also, have no idea how long it's been. I have a theory that it kind of doesn't make sense because there's a sequel to this, but he probably just like dies, right? Like he's just like dead, and then the rest of the movie, like he gets taken to the zoo and he just like loses his fucking mind there and then like dies. The part where he's like looking up sadly as Fisher is getting like thrown at him, like is kind of like heartbreaking the way that it's shot. It's like, oh, this is like, man, you were this wild, untamed animal, and now you're just here as like a godlike being just tosses you fucking sardines.
Yeah. And then he gets freed and he teaches humanity that actually these penguins are entertaining, and therefore,
as long as you can dance,
and therefore, like the UN should change all conservation laws in the Arctic.
That's such a George Miller
while
thing. It's
the
so
end by the Beatles plays.
Yeah, and it's like it all zooms by so quickly that it feels like it's basically, for all intents and purposes, a montage at that point when it goes to like black and white.
Yeah,
and and it cuts to all these political arguments.
I like penguins. We should let them go extinct.
Yeah. And the world gets saved because these penguins are fucking like step dancing for their goddamn lives while these like four morons stand on a mountaintop watching them.
And it has the same ending as Drumline too.
Facts. That's right. So we need to like go back before we get to the ending, because that is just where all like the wild, like that's where all the non-standard like insane shit happens. The movie itself, I as a kid I really had a hard time like forming an emotional bond to these characters. A lot of it was the way that they looked. A lot of it was I even as a kid, I really bugged me when like the look of things coming out of their mouth didn't look like they were saying words.
Right.
They weren't like anthropomorphized.
Yeah, it's just
all.
a beak.
Yeah, that always bugged me. And
this is the same issue you had with robots.
Yeah. So the movie really, for me, gets
Except
going.
for Aunt Fanny.
It gets going when Ramon and the boys come in.
Yes,
Like
100%.
Let me tell something to do.
Ramon and the boys rock. Like I think all of the other boys in that crew are doing a great voice acting job as well. They're funny to me.
It feels like they just like locked all the voice actors like in a little studio, and it's like, all right, just like
Go off.
have some shenanigans. You're penguins. What are you saying to each other?
Yeah, and Robin's like, okay, let me tell you guys how we're gonna speak Spanish.
I have a very kind of warm connection to this movie because I think I watched this a lot as a kid, and probably wore the DVD down a lot. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I may have been in a situation too where I kind of just watched the first half a lot. Not that I had never seen the second half. I definitely remember all the human stuff, but I think that the stuff that's burned into my brain is more of just like penguins singing. The scene where it's like Somebody to Love under the stars.
Yeah.
That's what's in my head.
Or when later on when they're all like just horny ass teenagers and everyone wants to fuck Gloria.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone wants Gloria. They're singing, like they're forming little boy band groups to get her attention. And she's like, no, fuck all of you.
I need the tap dancing guy.
An absolutely wonderful sequence.
I do.
This movie has a lot of wonderful sequences.
That's
all of the music and the choreography. Like I really like animated dance choreography,
It's
and I'm
good.
willing to overlook how uncanny the penguins' faces and bodies look because the choreography is just
No,
incredible.
you're right. I was way more into all of that. And I mean, if we're like ranking how well that they rendered species, penguins are one of the better rendered species in this.
Yeah.
When the feathered birds that he runs
That's
into
rough. Yeah.
are it looks bad. And then
sea
the
lion.
elephant
a
seals.
lot of underwater stuff is really tough. And frankly, one misstep I would say for Miller is I think he just overtrusted the technology, because anytime he's trying to do a really fast action sequence, the camera's going way too fast. They're not able to properly render everything.
There's some stuff that looks amazing, like the landscapes. I was like, did they just photograph like actual landscapes?
Well, that's that. I mean, I'm assuming that's where a good chunk of our budget's going.
It looks incredible.
We're superimposing thousands of it, like you can watch. They're like independently moving figures onto what is a really photorealistic landscape.
I think that that's where like you get the big difference between this and you brought up Finding Nemo earlier. Is that Finding Nemo, the thing about that movie
It's
that's
not photorealism.
Well, that's the thing about that movie that's made it age so well is because it's focused on the details. It's like looks best when it's just the close-ups on characters' faces. And whenever you get in the widescape, it's just like, oh, that's just like a shot. Here, like the wide stuff, the landscape stuff looks fucking fantastic. But it's whenever you get the close-ups and you actually get close to these characters that you get like a little bit of a knot in your stomach. Like, I don't know about this.
Okay, so Mumble is trying to pine for Gloria. He can't do it. He meets up with
Mumble's cringe. Yeah, so he ends up outcasted for being so cringe. All the adults are like, you're Satan.
Yeah, he kind of it's the somebody to love sequence where he's screeching and they're like, you got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And in their defense, he's
ruining the moment.
He's a bad singer.
Oh,
Don't say
it's
that.
worse than bad. It's like it's not singing.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Just screaming.
I kind of feel bad where it's like Gloria's like, hey, not the time, buddy. But at the same time, it's like
she handles it so well.
Gloria's a saint.
But
for the way she deals with his stupid.
Anybody else would have been like, shut the fuck up, Mumble. You've been living with us your whole life. You know the deal. Like this is not you.
She should just go fuck Fat Joe.
I mean, look, Fat Joe's got swag.
How do you know she has it?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Guys, we all came from like a little bit of a music background from some kind of some level or another. You all know that you had that like at least one friend who was tone deaf as fuck and really thought that like he had something, whether it was singing or playing an instrument. He's like, God, no, I can jam too. And you're like, you're doing so good. How about you like go play the fucking triangle?
How about you go meet up with Ramon?
How about you just like tap dance for us in the background while we jam out?
I truly though, once we get to like Ramon and the boys, I found it so endearing the way that they take him in. I really
immediately.
I think that's when I started really feeling things in the movie.
Yeah. It's Robin coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's really funny about that sequence is how they meet. It's Mumble flying out of the ocean and then a leopard seal flying out of the ocean. And Ramon and the boys didn't see any of that shit. So it's just like penguin, seal. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And that's weird, right?
Yes. And then
they take him in.
And then Ramon and the boys have like a roast circle around the seal that is like really trying to eat them.
And
like,
the seal looks rough. The seal looks not great in that scene.
So they have like a roast circle and then like, Mumble kind of joins in, but it's like a cringe joke and they're like, oh, nice one, fucking dipshit.
oh, stupid face. How long did it take you to think of that one?
Yeah, it's genuinely awesome.
It's from that moment. We'll get to it when we talk about like best moments of the movie, but that and then them just like all palling around leads right into like the avalanche scene where they just kind of like all fly down together.
Which is that looks great.
Classic. That also, it's talking about like the wide stuff. Like that all looks really good. It's really fun.
I wish that it's
going back to the zillennial idea of like, it's like a rainstorm and you like step on something and like, whoa, it's an epic slide.
Yeah, like an RV. Yeah. I wish that there was a Happy Feet ride at Universal. That would be awesome. I'd ride down that slide.
Would you have to dance? You have to do a step routine while you do this.
No, that's the cue. That's when you're waiting.
Yeah,
that's when you're waiting.
The virtual queue, but it's just that you have to like tap dance.
Yeah, when you're waiting in line, like you can just tap dance. One thing I like about the way the story progresses is they save the exile moment for later. Mm-hmm. I feel like the standard template thing is to just do that off top. It's like all building to that, and they're like, no, we're gonna put a pin in this for later.
Well, you think that you've hit it when he is literally exiled, and that's not it.
Yeah,
like things just get worse.
He just like gets bullied, and then it's just like
they just leave him. It's not really an exile. They just kind of forget about him. He just kind of drifts away.
Is that like what are, because I was trying to think of that in like human terms. So is that almost like a grad bash kind of situation? Like they all graduate.
The bus leaves.
Yeah. And then there's like, oh, we're like all going to like hang out. Like we're going to be 18 forever, guys. And then like he just like passes out there and like wakes up and he's just alone with like,
I mean, this is a very 2006 thing where you just leave the like neurodivergent queer kid behind. In 2023, like that kid is at the front of the bus. Like he is running the party. He's calling the shots. Again. Everyone's like, let's fucking tap dance. Like, let's go. 2006, it's like, shut the fuck
This is a pre-Glee world is what you're saying.
The tap dance element is funny because it's like vaudevillian almost to really like covet that as a skill. Tap dancing in film and in like performance used to be like it was one of the four most important things you could do. It was Gene Kelly singing in the rain.
Exactly.
It was such a giant fucking deal, and it just is entirely gone from our culture. So like that, like the revival of that in this movie always struck me as funny because I grew up watching a lot of like old ass fucking movies, and I was like, oh, they're doing like a tap dance thing here, but with penguins. So did Elijah Wood like learn how to tap dance or?
Yeah. Do you think it's like it's actually
they all
mocap?
It's just He's wearing like a giant like bag.
They actually use
got to keep his legs tied together.
The same exact technology as Andy Serkis for Gollum.
So
for this,
there actually is a here. Let me. I'm going to share my screen real quick. There actually is a making of featurette on YouTube of the tap dancing.
Them, like drawing.
Let me just skip to this real quick. So they actually did like actual tap dancing for the film.
Okay.
That's pretty neat, actually.
That does not look like Elijah Wood.
It's his stunt double.
So it's definitely it's not Elijah Wood at all.
Yeah.
His tap double.
So at that
look
point,
at this fucking guy.
What do you think he's even saying? You know, like what is there to say?
At
man?
that point,
he's like, yeah. So when I was the penguin, I thought it was pretty. Yeah, I thought it did.
Hold on, let's back it up.
An artist in his own way. Mumble is an artist.
So at that point, why even have motion capture?
Where the penguins kind of slide down this massive kind of ice luge. And it's a really great, fun sequence. It's almost like a giant water slide. Yeah. And so that was one of the more challenging scenes because we had to kind of interject this sense of movement.
Oh, yeah. Robin Williams fucking knocked it out.
That's so good. Oh my God. King. Fucking king,
God,
dude.
that's Robin doing.
This is
Robin
a great scene.
About this
R.I.P.
to me being most
see.
She actually does sing.
Yeah,
she has credited singing.
Yeah, Dane just asked, "What if she didn't?"
Right. Actually, Pink does. Wait, hold on. Let's hear what he says.
And change. But sometimes you are given something quite wonderful that maybe now doesn't blend in at first. But if you can hold on to it, you'll find it quite extraordinary.
Wow.
R.I.P. to Elijah. It is so funny of just seeing Elijah like, it was really difficult to like use onomatopoeias, and meanwhile Robin Williams like,
yeah, and
actually like punching himself in the face.
Cut to not a shot of Elijah Wood doing that.
That specific scene of going down the ice was like that's the peak Robin Williams is. Because I knew exactly what he was doing when I heard him doing it. And it's like, I can't do that.
No, you're so right. And then like me, meanwhile, any other voice actor like Elijah is just going like, whoa, boink. Like he's on another level. He does a good job once you get past maybe a bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He is not that short in real life.
Oh, okay.
So, Robin, I think, is this his last
animated
and like voice performance? Because he does robots, which we talked about. This being like, or robots being like his return to animation.
Well, Happy Feet 2.
Okay,
in
Happy Feet 2. Yes. Is he's Ramon in that again, right?
Yeah,
Is he Lovelace again?
Yeah. He does both.
So what do we think about the fact that what is like Ramon and the boys? What is their like little penguin country called? Is that
Adelie land?
Adelie?
Well, they're Adelie penguins. It's called Adelie.
Oh yeah,
something.
so if it's Emperor Land, then yeah.
Has George Miller commented yet on the fact that he literally puts like the Breaking Bad Mexico filter on Antarctica when they go to that world?
I like that they make their little pebble nests. That's cool.
Yeah, he learns that like, oh, actually, in this culture, Riz is entirely different than yours. So like, what's the point of, do your own thing, brother? I mean, and also I like that Ramon and the boys are like, now we don't fuck with Ness. We don't need that shit. We get pussy all natural style. We get pussy off our damn charisma.
Yeah. We don't need these fucking pebbles that you're building.
So Lovelace has like a mountain of pebbles, right? That's what's going on.
So how many hoes is he fucking?
All of them. So
yeah,
it's like a
6 or 8 on screen at any given time.
So yeah, for the listener, Lovelace is like the large leader penguin of the short ones who has a fucking like 6-pack around his neck. He's like a mix of like Jim Jones and like James Brown.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different ethnicity than all the other penguins in that world. And his
ethnicity is sensuality.
Yeah, he's fucking.
Well, is that one of those ethnicities? Is that what Robin Williams' ethnicity is in real life, or is that?
It's hairy.
What is Robin Williams? You would think like Hungarian, but
he's pretty white.
His name is so Irish.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he's white. I will say it is. I commented on it because I also like. I didn't remember. I remembered. Well, doing this fucking podcast series, so I knew that Robin Williams was in the film Happy Feet, but I couldn't really remember what he did in this. And I've commented on it, and I think like. I don't know, like 3 of the last 4 episodes where it's like Robin really does love to do a Hispanic voice at things.
Absolutely.
And so by the year 2006, he's like, what if I did only a Hispanic voice for things?
He was so jealous of Hank Azaria in the Birdcage.
And guess what? Hank Azaria returns in Happy Feet 2.
No way.
Yeah. So he's just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking bust out that voice again.
Yeah. I mean, it was just seen as something that was like in any comedian's repertoire, until like the 2010s, I would say, is like doing, different ethnicities with no
regard.
Yeah, exactly. Like no filter on which ethnicity you were doing. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of what Robin is up to.
Where part of the joke is just that, hey, look, I'm ethnicity.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and that's the thing is like there are definitely a lot of like weird little like penguin analog stereotypes that are thrown into the script of this movie. Like, you know what I mean? If you really want to look at it as them being a ethnicity of penguin,
but like
it's kind of weird for sure.
It's a thing
at the very least.
It did make me ask the question of like. Were Adelie penguins ever originally Hispanic coded, or was it only after they brought in Robin Williams and Robin Williams decided to do a Latin voice that they're like, all right, I guess all Adelie penguins are just going to be Hispanic coded.
Yeah, I guess your posse is like, we're going to have to rehire a new posse based on that.
Do you think they hired the other 4 voice actors after they heard Robin
Yeah, they originally
Williams?
had like Steve
They're
Carell.
Like, what voice do you want to do for this guy? And he does it, and they're like, oh, okay, I guess.
Those other dudes rock though. There's some
It's all great.
Yeah, there's some voice actor legends in like the crew behind him. One of them is the voice of like Lars on Rocket Power. Who's also who you've just heard like everywhere. Those are like the better voice acting is when they're actual voice actors. Who would have thunk in this fucking movie? For example, Kid Mumble is the legend. It's the what's her name?
E.G. Daily.
Yeah, E.G. Daily, Tommy Pickles and the Powerpuff Girls and yada yada. And yeah, Kid Mumble is adorable sounding.
So I knew that I recognized one of the voices because it's another like legend in voice acting. Carlos Alazraqui, I think is how you pronounce his last name.
As Nestor.
Yeah, who plays
is Laszlo.
He's Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. Which was a very important show for also Laszlo and Camp Laszlo. Yeah.
These guys all rock. They're funny. They add they add a sense of heart to the movie because, you know, they teach him Riz.
Did you see Steve Irwin is in the voice cast?
Wait, what?
Yeah, he plays Trev.
Who the fuck is that?
Who is Trev?
I don't know who the fuck has a really Australian accent.
Is it like one of the humans? Maybe
Is that the seal? Is it
the trunk,
fucking
the long
elephant
trunk.
seal?
Oh, it's probably one of the elephant seals because they're all Australian.
I thought that the elephant seal, whenever I was hearing it, it sounded like whoever did the voice of Bruce in Finding Nemo was. I was guessing that was, but
Fish are friends, not food.
It makes sense that it's just that Steve Irwin because he's just doing the most Australian voice. Yeah,
the way that countries of origin work in this movie is really fun. Like, because also like the elder statesman who's like, you know, very anti-change and like basically like a religious zealot is Scottish.
Yeah,
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, he's going like mega Scottish.
I love Hugo Weaving in this movie.
Yeah. When he starts dancing at the end,
everything that he's doing. I love when he's just like, we have to sing to combat the dancing. Like it's so
and their
good.
Singing is like chanting like Latin.
Yeah,
like Latin.
Subtitles said, right?
Yeah, it is. Well,
yeah, no, you posted it was like Greek, like penguins singing.
Chanting in Greek.
That was a different scene though.
It's scary. Well, also that begins in like the very start of the movie when all the men are like defending their eggs from the elements and they're going like, warm thy egg. It's so weird.
Stay strong. Everyone must take their turn.
Yeah. So it's a classic, you know, that we've seen this story a million times of like the hardened older men think that they have to harden the younger generation.
Daddy,
frankly,
did you drop my egg, Daddy?
Yeah. Frankly, maybe that's fair. Maybe Mumble isn't going to be able to like take care of a fucking egg because he's like, he's going to be like, oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to get my life together.
Well, Happy Feet 2, he fucking takes care of an egg.
Now these fucking millennials think that they can have a kid when they haven't experienced real life.
You guys have talked enough about Happy Feet 2 for one.
Well, should we talk about Sven?
Dude,
Hank Azaria?
you got some spot that Drew brought up Hank Azaria because he said Robin's jealous of him.
He comes in and Happy Feet 2.
He's really fun. He's a lot of fun.
A puffin. A toucan? Oh, puffin.
He's a toucan. No, he's a puffin.
I don't fucking know birds.
He looks like
why would a toucan
cannot pose as a penguin. A puffin is trying to pose as a penguin.
If you told me that there was a toucan in Happy Feet 2, I'd be like, sure, okay. I thought that makes sense.
I thought
Happy Feet 2 kind of, you know, Happy Feet 2 is a movie that as I watched it, I was like, I don't get the hype on this. And then by the time it was over, I was like, that kind of ruled.
Well, the moment
I admire
the moment all the storylines converge on that one iceberg and they all dance together to crack the iceberg. It's like, is this the greatest movie
under
ever
pressure?
made?
And it's probably the best use of under pressure in a movie. Which, by the way, Rami Malek could fucking never be part of the Somebody to Love song in this.
Should we talk about the music in this movie? So
yes.
Pink is actually listed as the singer of Tell Me Something Good by Stevie Wonder. She does the cover.
Tell me something good.
No. That's the wrong. The fuck?
That's not even right.
I'm living in this penguin
we should
world.
say Prince did record an original
Do you
song.
think if Happy Feet 3 came out in 2020, would it feature that?
Yes. So the movie also opens on a sultry Prince number by Nicole Kidman, a super horny rendition of a Prince song.
Yeah.
By definitely
Song
not
of the
Nicole
Hot.
Kidman, by the way.
I don't know who sang that version of it, but because you're right, it definitely was not Nicole Kidman's voice singing that.
Well, and then that's how she finds Elvis.
That's another one that
Mama.
I need a better voice there. I need somebody better there. I would never say anything hateful against our queen, Nicole Kidman. Love Nicole, but yeah, Hugh Jackman definitely not letting anybody else sing his part. Hugh Jackman's like, my theater prowess is coming out. I am Elvis. My decades of theatrical training have been preparing me for this exact moment.
Well, he his singing was good, and you know, doesn't he get shit for Les Mis? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
He is excellent in Les Mis.
No, yeah.
The problem with Les Mis is like the story of Les Mis, which I'm sorry, guys, it's a play that was written like fucking 50 years ago.
Well, everyone in Les Mis though got shit just because what's his name, Mr. Katz, director, recorded them all live. He didn't like let them do after the fact like dubs. Yeah, so they all sound iffy, but that's just because like it's
you
real.
Talk shit about our boy Tom Hooper? That movie is also it kind of looks like ass as you're watching it because it's one of those movies where it's like I want to film this to look like grainy and like dirty and dark, and so just like it's aged worse because it looks like you're on a set and you just shot it badly.
You don't get it.
Which is the problem with Cats. Is Cats was supposed to be like dimly lit cats of the night, and it's just like this looks like a soundstage.
I think there are a couple more problems with Cats.
That's the only problem. Otherwise, it's perfect. I don't know if you remember this, Drew, but Rum Tum Tugger is a curious.
Remember, it's every now and then I have a flashback to the bugs in Cats.
Oh God, the roaches.
Yeah.
Remember when you were Skimbleshanks, the railway cat, the cat on the railway train?
Man, remember when you killed Skimbleshanks, the cat from the railway train?
I really don't. I hadn't thought of that in years.
I don't know if you remember this, Dane, but there was a stretch.
I remember
every single episode.
He was
there
the
was like,
first
I'm
victim of COVID. Like I'm pretty sure that he was ground zero of COVID.
Cats, the bats are simply the rats of the sky, and I'm a cat. Like I'm just gonna.
So the music in Happy Feet is good. And I think they have a great selection of songs.
It's all pretty like funk, various forms of funk, which I think works really.
Stevie Wonder,
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Dude, the buildup. I mean, another contender for best moment of the movie is the long buildup to Boogie Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
whenever he comes back, because at first it like starts off with them singing. What is the they sing like a Spanish song that Robin voices.
Oh, My
like,
Way.
Yeah, My Way. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. Doing the Spanish My Way, and then that like it's kind of hinted at like singing a little bit of Boogie Wonderland and eventually paying off and everything. It's so good.
That shit goes.
Love that shit.
The Spanish little rendition goes absolutely insane. That's my favorite song in the whole movie.
I think so too. Yeah. For me, yeah.
It goes so crazy.
Robin Williams sang it. Robin Williams is listed as the performer of it. Yeah.
He can sing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done it before and he nailed it the first time he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it works because Frank does the same. Frank kind of has like a talking singing thing. That's one of the things that make Frank Sinatra great. And that's like works well for Robin Williams because there's like a little bit of talking singing. That's what Genie did. Like Genie did the like Never Had a Friend Like Me is like half talking while singing.
Yeah.
So is that your favorite song on the soundtrack, Dane? What do you think?
I think my favorite like audible performance, absolutely. But I think part of what makes the music in this good is also the dance choreography and like the tap dancing and the step that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think the cinematography too, right? Like just the way it's shot.
There's a lot of stuff like back to the first time he's dancing where the birds are about to eat him and whatever, and he's doing his little tap dance and the camera's like here and then it zooms here and it's just all over the place, but very smooth. And I don't know if my hands are really.
No, it's much more dynamic though than it has any.
Well, it's George Miller.
Exactly.
Like he can frame a shot that's just like some penguins. Like there's a lot of like really subtle, good storytelling with the cinematography here. Like just the way it sounds silly to say, but like just the way there's like certain blocking moments where like certain characters are placed in the frame. He just like takes the extra step to think about these things, and I don't know if a lot of animation directors working in like, I don't know, kind of the early days of 3D animation were really thinking about these things as the technology was getting built out.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing about George Miller, because I feel like this little trilogy of movies that he does in between Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome and Mad Max Fury Road, because he does 3 children's films. And I feel like that generally, whenever people look at his career, it's like the yada yada, yeah, he's just collecting paychecks so he can make Mad Max Fury Road. But one, Babe Pig in the City fucking rules. It's a great movie.
Solid movie.
Happy Feet has a lot to it, and Happy Feet 2, like all these movies have like, they have a lot to them, especially in like things that they're trying to say and things that they're trying to do with the camera, that these aren't just pure paychecks. He's playing around a lot with technology. Like he's kind of trying to do a little bit of the Spielberg thing where it's just like, I want to push what we have, or James Cameron thing. Like I want to push this technology to the limits, even if it's not really ready for it yet. I just want to see what I can do with this.
Thinking, I guess it is technically cinematography. It feels different because it's all animated. It's not like an actual camera. But I mean, the way that the camera moves, it doesn't feel like an animated camera.
Right.
And I think that goes to the technology. Like most of the shots feel like it's like a camera on a rendering of a 3D penguin that doesn't look like a real penguin.
That's true.
Do we think he saw March of the Penguins and he was like, give me that?
Give me that.
What if they were dancing?
Yeah.
I really think it just the only time it falters, because you're right, Dane, but when it falters is when he's trying to go too fast with it, because that's when even certain for whatever reason, anytime that he's really Mumble is really trying to sing and he like belts, he like turns his mouth upward and the camera goes up and then down, and it looks to me like Xavier Renegade Angel. It's such an insane shot to throw in there. And
doesn't
then
it go into his mouth at one point?
It always looks like it's not about to. And then
it probably does it at the very beginning,
and then
somebody's mouth.
The thing is, if he were given, because like these movies are as much about your team as anything. Like it's like he didn't become like the world's foremost animation expert to direct this. There was a team sort of given to him, and if he had a Pixar team, I'm sure that things would look way different, because like Finding Nemo looks unbelievable and it's underwater.
I mean, that's Pixar. Pixar's as good as it gets.
Well, that's what I'm saying is if you had given him Pixar people, like it would have been nuts.
Well, now that you've like mentioned it, like Pixar people, this movie looks a lot different if it's like made by Pixar.
Oh, well, yeah, they're all like anthropomorphized and shit. But I'm just saying, Pixar just they had access to levels before anyone else did, and it shows in certain points here.
I think the edge and like it's like a traditional kids movie while also being something that is pretty different from a traditional kids movie. Yeah. And I feel like if they hadn't done all of the weirdness with the movie, it might not have worked for me the way that it does.
There's a couple of things in the Wikipedia that I just found.
I have a quote that I really wanted to.
Is it under the analysis section?
Oh, no. Mine's under the production. You go first. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a section under the Wikipedia that says analysis. So, let's see. Vadim Rizov of IFC sees Mumble as the latest in a long line of cinematic religious mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is kind of a movie about atheism.
Some Christians have also considered the film to be anti-Christian or anti-religious in general.
It really is like we have to like wait for Big Gwina to like come and save us.
Yeah, in like the third act, it's like, oh yeah, there's a penguin god that we all believe in and pray to.
We sing the penguin god will bring us fish, and he's like, I believe in the science of going out and searching for fish, and they're like, you harlot.
On a technical or formal level, the film has also been lauded in some corners for its innovative introduction of Miller's roving style of subjective cinematography into contemporary animation.
So that's what I wanted to. There's a few different things in the production that actually get into like the semantics of the motion capture and like how the technology they use working to like build a server at IBM and a whole bunch of shit just to like capture everything they could do in 2006. But the first couple sentences of the production thing is so funny. In the production, section on Wikipedia. It says George Miller cites an initial inspiration for the film, an encounter with a grizzled old cameraman whose father was Frank Hurley of the Shackleton expedition.
This is like Nope.
During the shooting of World War II, or during the shooting of Mad Max 2, we were sitting in this bar having a milkshake and looked across, and he looked across at me and said, Antarctica. He shot a documentary and he said, you've got to make a film in Antarctica. It's just like out here in the wasteland. It's spectacular.
It's just like out here.
And in my head, Happy Feet was inspired by a documentary also about Antarctica, blah, blah, blah. But like, no, that's just so funny. Just sitting at a bar, drinking a milkshake and just like,
Australians.
You gotta go to Antarctica. It's just like the wasteland here in Australia.
That's so funny. Okay, we should get to the categories. I just real quick want to mention 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Feels maybe a tad low to me, like just a hair low.
I think that's about right though for an animated feature.
I have a soft spot for this movie. So
I really love all of the dancing and all of the music, and there's enough in the movie that I think is like actively hurting it, that I think that like 76 is actually pretty fair.
Sure.
Honestly,
that's fair.
Maybe a little higher than it should be. I don't know.
So I was going to say that because I think so. Happy Feet 2 is a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, I don't get that. I think that's because Happy Feet 2 is kind of like, it's hard to describe Happy Feet 2 as having like a clear story in the same way that Happy Feet 1 does. Happy Feet 2 is kind of like a few different things happen. There's like a puffin who's there, kind of a con man arc. But like for the most part, it's just like humans are kind of fucking up things and climate change is happening, and existentialism, that also is a thing that is happening right now. And it's just like kind of all of these ideas that don't really make sense all the way together, but it's fine. It's like taking a lot of the ideas from the third act of Happy Feet and just like, what if we tried to translate this onto an entire children's film? And in whole, like if I saw Happy Feet 2 as a kid, excuse me, I don't think I would have liked it.
I mean, there's just a huge gap between Babe 2 and Happy Feet. It's like
6 years.
It's like, no, it's like 8 years. So he's trying to get Mad Max made.
No, that's Happy Feet 2 is 2006, and Happy Feet is 2006. Happy Feet 2 is 2001.
No, between Babe.
Oh,
Babe is 98.
Babe, yeah.
So I'm as a kid, even I saw this, I would say like 3 or 4 times before I watched it for this pod. And I was always kind of lukewarm on the movie. It's more of like an I appreciate it thing than a like I love it. I like it. You know, there were immersion issues because of the scene to scene unsteadiness and how it looks. And then I was always really thrown by the amount of plot thrown into the last, like, really, it's not even quite 30 minutes. It's like the last 20 minutes. He goes through a journey that is equivalent to the entire rest of the movie.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. He becomes a fucking zombie, comes back to life, is exactly the same.
What are we thinking? That's like what, like multiple years?
Yes.
Are we thinking years?
I don't know about years. I don't know about years.
It's just so much happens.
He's still got his down though. So like,
yeah, just a movie's worth of shit happens to him at the end of the movie. And it's definitely like for a good purpose, because they're trying, they want that message to really be the button.
It's maybe 2.
It's really jarring. Like as a storytelling,
like they're cramming it in a little bit.
It's just so much after a movie that's been way more focused on like a personal journey.
Sure.
Like they zoom out and it's like, oh, what the fuck? And there are breadcrumbs here and there throughout the movie, but still, it's really wild.
And that's what I mean by it's like, it kind of feels like there were a bunch of talented people that worked on this, and it doesn't feel like there was one immediate cohesive decision on what the movie should be. Well, it's kind of got like the Joker problem, where it's like you're trying to be about an awful lot of things. Yeah. And in doing so, I think you kind of drop the ball.
Not diving deep enough.
George and then one of the other co-directors. What's her name?
I love the comparison between Happy Feet and Joker and Todd Phillips' Joker.
George has the the sole directing credit? Are you thinking of like one of the co-writers?
No, Happy Feet has 3 directors. George Miller, Warren Coleman,
what's the studio
Judy
that did
Morris.
this?
Oh, Warner.
George and Judy.
So George has the actual sole directing credit. The other 2 people probably helped with directing the animated parts, if I'd make a guess.
Which is like the movie.
I just feel,
but
I feel
George
like
Miller
it's
has the sole directing credit on the film itself.
Because he's the name. I would say that there's
I
a
think
lot
it's
of work put in by people who know it. Like he knows a lot of, but like, yeah, I'd say this was a group effort. George and Judy also have writing credit. I would say this script was sort of picked up off of a stack, and it feels like it was edited to become cool.
Yeah.
Drew, I literally read you from the Wikipedia that this was his passion project that he always wanted to make since he had a talk while drinking a milkshake at a bar during Mad Max 2.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I feel like it may have been a lot of the time with movies like this. The situation is he was like, yeah, I've always wanted to do an Antarctica movie. Are there any like animated Antarctica movies that you guys just have in your in your pile of 1 billion?
And he's like, cool. Can I add like 30 minutes in there about how we should stop the overfishing in the Arctic region?
That's seriously how it goes.
I made Pig in the City.
Do you think that's what he was saying? He wasn't going for like I made Mad Max.
Those weren't. I don't think those were big like financial hits.
Mad Max 2 is a critical success though. Enough to give him between that and Babe Pig in the City that they're like, we'll give you $100
I really think that's what happened here though, because the third writer is I think the one who like he penned the original. He wrote a very generic kids movie about penguin who dance. Yeah, and because he doesn't have his career is entirely unrelated from George and Judy. Like it's what I mean.
Go ahead, Dane.
It's just somebody trying to like some corporate guy trying to be like, and what's gonna like sell the movie? What's gonna make people watch the
and
movie?
that's also what I didn't love it as a kid. Even like as an adult, I know how to like say it, but it feels like a kind of a Save the Caddy type of movie until it gets really interesting. But like it almost reminds me of an Elf when Andy Richter is pitching like children's book ideas to Peter Dinklage, and he's like, it's like farm, fruits, and it's like a tomato or an asparagus who's like embarrassed about the smell of his own pee. It's just like it feels like
That's
Craven,
funny.
and then but then like there's a lot of life breathed into it by all of the creativity. It's just like the base blueprint of it is boring to me.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys, and I know that we brought up the reason why, which by the way, Dane, you might be wondering in Happy Feet 2, Mumble still has his like fucking feathers, like he's a little baby.
It doesn't go away.
He never grows out
what?
of that. Yeah, no, he keeps that for the rest of his life. Once again, he was dropped on his head as an egg. In the marketing of this movie, if you look at the poster for Happy Feet,
it's baby.
You just see baby Mumble with Robin and the gang behind him. Is there like a problem with that? Like adult Mumble kind of looks grotesque. Like there's something like really unsettling about looking. Like you don't want adult Mumble on a poster because you're like, the fuck am I looking at there? Like little penguins are cute. Like those all still look very cute.
Put
That's
that
very
on the
well
poster.
done. That's like
it feels
10
like,
minutes of the movie.
Like Colin Robinson in season 4 of What We Do in the Shadows when he like grows up suddenly and he's wearing the kids' clothes. That it's same vibe.
It's like you're back to being your old self.
You're an old person who looks like a child, and I don't want that.
Okay. Couple quick things before the categories. This movie won the Oscar for animated feature film.
And you see what it beat?
It beat Cars and Monster House.
Monster House. Damn.
Monster House is a better movie.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. Let's hear the Monster House defense. Let's go.
It's a
Monster
Dan
House.
Harmon.
It's just a wacky, goofy movie. I don't think it was like. I think as an adult, I enjoy watching it more than
Monster
I enjoyed
House.
watching Happy Feet.
When was the last time you saw Monster House?
Actually, like a year or two ago, because I didn't realize that Dan Harmon was a writer for it.
Yeah, and he like hated making.
I often love things that Dan Harmon hates.
Yeah,
I will say that this movie is a better movie than Cars. I think I'm of the opinion that Cars sucks ass.
Okay.
I think that's probably like a bottom 3.
You're not going to do the Cars defense right now?
No, I think that Cars is
Okay.
like a bottom 3 Pixar movie. I think that movie's absolute ass.
Okay.
That's my take on Cars.
Box office. All right. Happy Feet opened at number 1 at the box office, $41 million on November 17th, 2006. Dane, see if you can guess number 2. It is a major franchise reboot. 2006
Reboot.
major action franchise reboot.
Is it Godzilla?
It is not
Not,
Godzilla.
and it's
Is
not.
it
It's so it's not a
total
sequel. It's a
no.
reboot.
It is a first movie
Is it?
relaunching a huge franchise.
in
Is it
2006.
Indiana Jones?
A very
That's
popular
8.
very popular franchise. Action.
It's not Transformers.
No, it is the first movie in a long running franchise.
The first Craig Bond movie.
Baby.
Casino Royale. Casino
Baby,
Royale. Oh, there you
Casino
go.
Royale.
I wasn't
opens-
even thinking. I was thinking more. Yeah.
opens the same weekend as Happy Feet
And-
with just less than $1 million difference. It's like
Neck and neck.
yeah,
With
it's
Happy Feet.
it's literally like a $700,000 difference.
Can you imagine
Damn.
how fucking lit Elijah Wood's life was back then? Like he's coming off Lord of the Rings. He is sitting on a pile of money, and he's like, "Yeah, it's basically me and fucking James Bond up there battling it out
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Duking it out.
I'm thinking we're gonna do
So-
like 6 or 7 of these Happy Feets.
So was Happy Feet like? It's not Lord of the Rings that let Elijah Wood start to do weird shit. It was Happy.
Yeah. No. Happy Feet 2
He
got him
gets
the
off Happy
Wilfred
Feet, he's
paycheck.
like, I gotta do like an American adaptation of Wilfred.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna do
That's
Wilfred
what
now.
I need to do.
Which was great. Wilfred's great.
I love Wilfred.
Number 3 is in its third weekend, a massive comedy.
Comedy.
In 2000,
Game changing.
Anchorman. Fuck.
Game
Yeah, that's
changing
earlier.
comedy. Like people
Is
were
it
like
Idiocracy?
Shut up. What the fuck is this?
It's big in our heart, staying and no
Is
one
it
else.
Nacho Libre? I
and
gotta
it's
list the
its third
2006 movies.
weekend sitting good at number 3.
So it came out early November, late October.
Super bad.
No.
It got a sequel recently. There was a recent sequel
A recent
many
sequel.
years later from
It's not
2006.
Zoolander. No, I'm trying to think of.
Very influential to
Is it
modern
Super
comedy.
Troopers?
Is it?
From a
Is it Borat? Is
yes,
it Borat?
Borat, oh.
Borat, baby, my wife.
Very nice.
My wife.
My wife.
Very nice.
Very
Borat
nice.
in
How
its
much?
third weekend with
How much?
it made 14 mil, but it's sitting at 90 mil total.
Nice.
It's feeling good.
Phenomenal movie.
Banger.
Borat's feeling good. Then below Borat, you have a number 3 movie in a Walt Disney holiday franchise.
That's Pirates.
No, it is a holiday themed
Wait,
franchise.
what?
Holiday themed.
Oh, so then it's the Santa Claus.
2006.
Yes,
It's-
Santa
yeah,
Claus
that's-
3.
Yeah.
Santa Claus 3 sitting at
Okay.
number 4, 15 mil total. Then you got the Will Ferrell Stranger Than Fiction. Any Stranger Than Fiction heads out there?
When did Pursuit of Happiness come out in 2006?
That was probably a little later.
Was
in the
that
year.
like
Yeah,
later in
'cause-
like
'cause that was
December
like,
or
yeah.
so? Okay.
Hitch is around 05, isn't it?
Hitch is 05. Pursuit of Happiness, I remember when that came out in 06. Because I remember asking my mom to take me to go see Pursuit of Happiness in the theaters. It's like, can you take me to see the film where Will Smith he solved Rubik's Cube really fast?
Then Flushed Away. Another Hugh
Yo.
Jackman animated
Brother.
entry.
That's not a real movie. It's
Flushed
a movie
away.
that does not exist. The actual production itself got flushed away.
That's a bad movie.
Is Hugh Jackman a good voice actor?
He's good and Happy Feet.
I think Hugh Jackman's great at everything. He's a theater actor. Like Hugh Jackman fucking rules,
He's
man.
down. He's so down.
Here's the thing about Hugh Jackman. He's down for anything.
Flush Away, when I was a kid, it was one of the movies I was most excited for that I just hated when I saw it.
You were excited for Flush
It
Away?
got
so excited. I was
crazy
like,
advertised for in like Nickelodeon back in the day. There were so many like ad
they
things.
get flushed away.
I was really interested in like what the world is like underneath the toilet. And they gave me Wallace and Gromit, but 3D rendered, and it looked like
Brother.
dog shit.
Yeah.
It looked so bad.
Then you got Saw 3. Babel, your guy
Yo.
in Yuridu.
That movie, Babel's actually a solid little movie. Also an incredible score by our guy who just recently passed away, Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Really?
R.I.P. Yeah.
Damn. I gotta
People know
rewatch that.
arousal.
He did something in
great
Happy
score.
Feet as well.
Yeah.
I tried
Ryuichi Sakamoto.
watching Babel on a plane recently. Not a good plane movie.
Did it put you to sleep?
No, I don't want people watching around me. There's
that's
it
fair.
starts out with some like kind of some things.
I haven't seen it since high school, but
And then finally The Departed in its 7th weekend, $113 million.
I would have guessed more, to be honest. I would have thought it.
it was one of those movies that got a post or like right around
post-
Oscar time
post-theater.
re-release, and
Yeah.
it got another like extra 50 million.
Yeah, and it was
a big movie,
and
for
it was
that.
a big time DVD
yes,
sales.
100%.
Yeah.
People love those Chinese microchips.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the part doesn't make sense. It's just good.
It's fun.
It's just good.
It's a fun little, cute little movie
Okay.
with a terrible Jack Nicholson voice.
Whatever.
Categories. First category. What is the best Robinism?
I think
The introduction.
No,
to
I think you were right, Dane.
About what?
The
Just falling down the slide.
I also here's a sleeper. A scene that usually sucks in a movie that Robin did great is when Ramon is sort of like interjecting himself, like giving like commentary on Mumble and Gloria's little like scene where he's
like after he finishes singing and he's like, Gloria, I love you.
yeah. Well, no, one of his like
He's
it's
just like, yo, I'm sorry, bro, but like, fuck being a wingman. I'm just trying to fuck right now. I'm sliding up in here.
the scene. It's the scene where like he like says goodbye to Gloria for her own good, you know, where he's like, oh yeah, no, you're actually not a good singer. You're trash, you know, and she's like, what, Mr. fucking autism? No.
That was a weird moment that's like the most movie moment of the thing, because it's like, why?
I know it's stupid.
Why is
It
he
looks like he's
pushing?
like smiling the entire time it's happening.
I think that's another problem with it, because it does look like he's like it. You almost think it's gonna be like a bit, like they're gonna play like almost hard to get with each other, and then she's gonna come along on the journey.
Yeah, that
and
was
then he
that was
just,
a
like,
stupid scene.
pushes her away, and you're like, I guess.
But Ramon
okay.
is being funny in the background. Where I think the way it starts is he's like, he's about to confess his soul to her forever.
Yeah, he's like, he's playing hard to get.
Yeah.
There's so many Ramon bits that are up here for me.
The
Like,
introduction to him is just so
what you
good.
hugging me for? He told me to get away. No, you like it. Like there's so many things like that I just like.
That was so weird.
When I saw that as a kid, I was like, this is literally the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like comedy has peaked at Robin Williams as Ramon.
There's a line that he does when they're like after they talk to the girls and they're like, well, we don't need you, we're too good, and he's like, oh, I hear the people, they want something, me. And
Yeah,
delivery is incredible.
That's another great one. Yeah. Let me tell something to you. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Robin gets a pass. He gets a total pass. He gets, he's just in his bag. Like, I don't care. It's 2006. Like, who gives a fuck? Let him do the voice.
Ernie, you're allowed to.
Let him do it.
Since you said it, then we
It's
can
fine.
do it.
It's
fine.
totally fine. Like, I used to watch the shit out of this movie, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the
thing
world.
is that
it was so good.
I feel like where it gets like more rough, because even whenever Robin is like doing a lot of his voices, it's never in like a degrading way. It's never as like to like belittle the people that he's trying to do impersonations of, the voices that he's trying to do impersonations of.
I don't know if I want to pick one. If I had to pick one, it's like the one where he like jukes himself into falling off the cliff.
The introduction of him, and this kind of leads into the best. If I was going to pick like the best Robin moment, it is the introduction of Robin into the avalanche sequence. Just that whole like 10-minute stretch is just like, the movie as like a shot of life that it desperately needed. It got like a little bit of a boost from the somebody to love scene. And then we're just like, it's stagnant again. And then Robin.
Wait, no, I found the full quote. This has to be my pick. Stop. Let me tell something to you. I know sights can be daunting, but don't be afraid. I love you. Mm-hmm. That's good shit. That's Robin in his bag.
There were obviously lines that were like scripted for Ramon. And even then I'm like, how much of that did he just improv? But like,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Like 80% of what Ramon says had to have just been like, okay, so you're a penguin.
Feels like it.
You're with your boys. What do you say? We're just going to take the bits that you've done and we'll make a storyboard for that. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll animate entirely around whatever you do.
Which is what they did for Genie.
Whatever country.
But it feels way more expensive in this case.
Yeah, way more.
You are right though, Drew. Whenever you brought up the other voice actors that are just part of his crew, because it does kind of feel like they have like chemistry together. Like, I don't know if they were in the booth together recording any of this stuff, but like the way they were playing off of each other just feels so much fun.
They have good timing. And this was before kids movies got super craven with just like people never ever being together in a room.
Right.
Like this is I would imagine that George would want that element.
Also, like we love the voice actors for their work, but it's not like they're like out here doing all these like they're like big name actors. I think like too good to be in the same room as somebody else.
I think that they made Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman fuck. They they made them fuck on like hard ground.
Yeah, it's like,
You have to make an egg. Make it happen. It has to be an egg.
George is just like nice.
They were actually nice in the booth, and they were calling each other Mama and Daddy, the entire time.
Daddy.
This is just like in The Northman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine Hugh Jackman in The Northman?
What if we replaced who was Ethan Hawke? Ethan Hawke. Yeah. If we replaced Ethan Hawke as Hugh Jackman in there,
honestly, that would work. Yeah, there's. I mean, he's just fully in his bag as Ramon. There's so many. But what is the best moment in the whole movie? Do we have a pick?
I think mine is the Boogie Wonderland scene. Yeah, there you go.
Boogie Wonderland.
That whole scene, because it includes My Way too. The way that like that whole sequence there, like with her just starting to like key it off a little bit, like saying some of the lines, trying to find the beat.
I mean, that's what the whole movie is built around, right?
It's the most like theatrical, like musical number. There's a full story told over the course of a medley that like ends with fucking Boogie Wonderland. Boogie Wonderland with like tap breakdown. What more could I ask for?
Yeah.
Oh, it's penguins doing it. Got it. Okay, cool. you got me.
Even better.
It's everything the story has been leading up to, which is, Mumble has been on the outside looking in, and now finally he's like part of this movement, this ensemble, this tradition in his way. That's a great pick. If I had to pick something else, like I don't know, I think that there's a lot of really good stuff with when you're introduced to the humans, like the boat, like seeing the boat. And
it's scary.
Yeah, and kind of getting introduced into that whole world. I think that the movie, I know that like there's some nitpicks there in terms of like maybe it being a little bit rushed and maybe coming a little bit too late in the game, but I think that for what the movie becomes at the end, that whole sequence of him like entering the human world is really good. And then just to shout out the ending with all of the penguins like dancing for the humans. I think that's all really good. I think a lesser director, if they would have tried some shit like that, the movie would have just completely fallen off a cliff. It would just been like, what are we doing?
You are right. Like the third act is an enhancement to the movie and not a detriment.
Yeah.
The weirdness of it is what really, like, it's so out of. It's just like it's not. It doesn't feel unearned. It's just so weird to just. We solved the ecological crisis around Antarctica because the penguins danced. Like,
we got the fish back.
How long until they just go back to normal? And
so it's just overfish again.
They start like drilling.
24-hour news cycle exists.
No, there's literally
it's a day.
So in Happy Hour, Jesus Christ, in Happy Feet 2, Lovelace, because he has to get caught up in some shit again. This time he starts drowning in an oil drilling site in Antarctica.
It's like a Deepwater Horizon.
Happy Feet 3, Ramon gets fracked.
He does, dude.
So I want to debut a segment that's totally original. I just came up with this and no other podcast has ever done it before. It's called Unanswered Questions. So like I kept thinking on it throughout the movie because they start by saying like every penguin has their one heart song. Like every penguin just has that one song that they can actually sing from their heart. Unless you're Gloria, I guess, and then you got like 8 of those things in the bag. Is that why all the penguins are horned up for her? Because she's like
got all the bangers
songs. But like even like Fat Joe, like he like keeps coming back to like don't push me because I'm close to the edge. Like he keeps coming kind of back to the same song.
Really bad heart song choice.
It's a tough one. You can't help it, but
not a love song.
I don't know. I think they sing whatever the hell they want to, but they've got like their one song.
Right.
I think
there's the heart song, and then there's like
we can sing with everybody else, but like if we're singing from our heart, it only matches with one another.
So is that Boogey Wonderland then for Gloria? Is that her heart song?
It's also
that's a banger of a heart song. That guy's hard as fuck.
It's also it's funny. There are thousands. I'm gonna go full CinemaSins like Ben Shapiro. There are millions of penguins in this world, and yet their heart songs, which have only one other match in the entire world, are karaoke pop #1 singles.
Is that like your biggest hit? You're just like, where are all the pond songs out here?
Who is coming up with an original tune?
Why isn't somebody out there singing Drunk Drivers Killer Whales as their heart song? That was almost like Simmons' voice. I don't know what that voice was I dipped into. All right, who says now?
Mount Rushmore of furries, fursuits that I own. Bill Simmons, Will Toledo.
Madonna.
So I do have to ask, and this kind of leads to
Hot Lady Penguin.
Michelle Pfeiffer could have done it.
Here's the thing. I was not aroused in this movie. R.I.P. Brittany Murphy, but I was not aroused in this movie because it wasn't played by Michelle.
How were you not aroused?
Now when the lady penguin got a nice breast line, that's real nice.
Now my wife, she has a nice breast line.
The girl penguins do like in this movie they do be arching their backs.
And Mallory Rubin's like, if I was in that movie, I would have sucked Ramon off right there.
No,
they walk like this.
If there's one thing I know about birds, it's that they have breasts. Yeah.
That becomes
their young
again. I don't want to keep going to Happy Feet 2, but that does become a point of contention in Happy Feet 2.
The breast size?
No, but about getting like cooked up there and just like you just want to take a bite out of that boob.
Oh, okay.
What?
There's some
what? I have no memory of this. What's the bite subplot?
Shut up.
I'm just making this. You just be saying anything about Happy Feet 2.
Happy Feet 2, man. It's crazy, man. They like,
they
like actually like, they just like, they really like predict the gas crisis.
Those damn Krills.
All right. Next category is, what would you do? Fellas, WID.
So what you doing is you see a penguin. You're at the zoo. You're at the Georgia Aquarium,
penguin
and you like look up there,
dancing.
and you just see a penguin tap dancing. What you don't do is you don't call the United Nations and say we have to stop. We have to stop fishing in the Arctic Ocean.
He's trying to tell us that we're overfishing.
I know.
I brought in.
It's so insane.
I brought in Gene Kelly's ghost here, and he can interpret the tap dance to tell us what he's trying to say.
This guy, small, queer, autistic penguin.
This penguin
must be trying to tell me that his people are starving.
He looks morose. We've got to take him back to the village with a fucking walkie-talkie on.
Here's
his
the
back.
other thing that doesn't happen is you don't take a penguin out of the wild and then you're like, because what do we assume? How long do we think he's really in the zoo? Do we think it's a year? Do we think it's 5 years? Do we think it's?
I think
a year.
A year is a solid.
I think it's got to be a year because when he comes back, he's like, "Oh, is one of these yours?"
Oh.
And she's like, "They all are, you know."
There you go.
So I think it's got to been
I
at
thought
least
that it
a
was.
year.
Well, I thought it was longer. I took it as like it's 5 years. But then again, everybody's like, "Oh, this fucking guy again." Like he's only been gone for like 2 weeks.
Well, if
they don't fuck with him.
If we had like another 2 hours on this podcast, we could do like the map,
yeah,
the drawing of like
how
traveling
he ended up from Antarctica to the Tampa Aquarium.
Because that might be a year right there.
Speed.
Also, how long it takes for a penguin to become sort of like enslaved in the zoo system where he's just fully like zoned out, you know?
Right.
But also then to be like immediately like as soon as he starts do you think it's day one they see him start tap dancing around, they're like, that's it, we have to take him back to Antarctica now? Or does that become a hit for like a few months and then people get worried?
That's the thing
by
is,
it?
no, the zoo would be like, oh, cool, we're going to keep him until he dies. Yeah.
Average swim speed of an emperor penguin is 3.7 to 5.6 miles per hour.
Okay, so how
He's
many?
fucking swimming a long time.
Is that in the air or in the water?
No, it's in the water.
Yeah,
What do you mean swim speed in the air?
I don't fucking know. I don't know what you're looking up.
Speed in the air. So wait, 3.3. Dane, can you do me a favor and can you see how far it is?
Can't fly?
Can you see how far it is distance from the southern tip of Antarctica to, let's just say, like Daytona Beach? What are we looking at there?
That's got to be at least like 3 months.
I think it's more than that.
Really?
I think it's like 2.5 years, dude.
It's 8,600 miles.
8,600 miles. So if you don't sleep, I guess, what is that? If you're going 5 miles
he
per
has
hour.
to rest. He's not going to die.
Is he in? Maybe there's like a jet stream, you know, just sort of scooting him. along.
That worked for me.
There's not a jet stream in the water, Drew. It's the ocean. You're doing the same thing Ernest just did.
Well, okay, then the fucking EAC. I've seen Finding Nemo.
Yeah, is there an EAC but for
Hold
the?
on a second. Hold on. We need to. Okay, cool. Let's back up. So at what point is his first encounter with the humans? When he learns about like Lovelace's background and all of that.
Well, before that, he sees like the fucking bulldozer going into the water.
So that was another question I had. Did he kill a guy right then? No, did he fuck? Because humans don't.
Was a guy working?
They don't just like leave like $100,000 piece of equipment just like chilling there on the side of a fucking
Ramon. I think we can pin that on Ramon. I think he enabled.
Either way,
that's exactly what our fucking our American justice system would do.
Pin it on Ramon. No, I'm pretty sure that like they just
Mumble was right there.
If you're gonna say it's Mumble,
Mumble was an innocent bystander.
Yeah,
he was coerced.
Yeah, he was coerced by Ramon and
Mumble's
his posse.
a good kid. He's gonna go to a good college. We can't derail.
And Ramon, you know what? I don't want to throw the G word around there, gang, but Ramon kind of his group looked a little bit aggressive. That's all that I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Did you see the way that they like just ceaselessly taunted that innocent leopard seal? That leopard seal was just trying to. He was just part of
starving seal.
That leopard seal was part of the neighborhood watch.
He was just trying to check them out, make sure that they were okay.
Yeah.
So at what point does Mumble, because Mumble, doesn't he like interact with the humans and then like goes back to the tribe and then swims out, right? Isn't that what happens? Like Drew, you just saw this movie. We all just saw what happens in this movie.
No. he like doesn't interact with like the humans really truly until he sees their boat and all the fish and shit.
Yeah, and then he's off, and then he's gone.
Yeah,
yeah.
He hears from the big birds that they exist, and then he sees.
Yeah,
he kills
sees,
someone, and then
like traces of them.
Yeah, and he sees the hula girl doll float up from the
that's
building,
right,
which is a human form. So that's his first.
It's like straight out of The Incredibles,
and that's when he just starts swimming. So he just swims all the way, right?
So I did the math here. You said it's about 8,300 miles from the southern tip of Antarctica to Daytona Beach. Saying that this penguin is swimming 4 miles an hour continuously, no breaking whatsoever.
He has to take a break.
No, I'm saying if it's just continuously with no breaks whatsoever, that is about 86 and a half days. 87 days.
So 3 months.
So that's 3 months.
Yeah, and that's what I guess.
With breaks, he also does not have the energy. He's gonna have to go hunting around for fish in there. He might have to like avert like some prey.
So we're easily talking like 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
He then had to stay in the zoo for long enough to get zoinked out, which I'm gonna guess is like a year.
Okay.
If I
so
and then traveling back, I'm gonna guess at
18
least
months.
2 years.
So 18 months to
at
2
least
years.
minimum.
Well, we did it.
This is sports science. My name's John Brinkus.
So what would you do?
What would I do?
If your egg gets dropped, if you come back from fishing,
fellas,
and your husband drops the egg.
So I think the more important question is, what do you do if you drop the egg?
I would kill myself.
I would kill the baby.
You do exactly what Memphis did. You just pretend it didn't fucking happen.
Listen,
and you see your dedevelopmentally challenged kid. And you're
Dane, don't worry about that, baby. He's grown out of it.
Dane, this is how I know that you have a father who watched Fox News right there, because you're all about denial. And brother, me too.
Yeah, he would. I mean, you're probably right though that he would just be like, oh no, the egg is dead, and they're like, the little newborn girl is like, wait, and she's like pecking it and it's like making noise, and they're like, oh, I can hear something. He's like, nah. Can't, and then he like pushes it into the ocean. Can't hear nothing. There's no heartbeat.
Okay, the next category is the day after. So I mean, Happy Feet 2 is a lot of.
They get back to yeah. Like,
they're all dancing. Beginning of Happy Feet 2, everyone's dancing.
Here's what happens.
There's like a little like ceremonial international treaty that's signed to like how this particular species of penguin, they keep destroying the rest of the world, and then like a month later they find out that there's like good oil.
There's oil.
Yeah,
there's oil in Antarctica.
Yeah.
The real thing
they know
moves in.
There's 2 little krill. They're gonna change the world.
They're gonna change everything because they want to be part of the swarm. The reality is that they put that tracker on Mumble. They follow him back to his squad. They see them all dancing, and they enslave the entire emperor penguin population for their zoo.
That's a reality show right there.
That's
free
actually
content.
going to happen.
Every zoo has one tap dancing penguin.
Yeah,
from
all over the world.
Yeah.
Good Robin or bad Robin?
Great
Robin.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
As long as it's okay with you, Ernest.
He slays it in this movie.
He kicks ass. He makes the movie a lot better.
Yeah. I think that I think this movie ends up in like the top half of our series.
Definitely. And I don't even love this movie.
But I think that if you're just judging it on like Robin, it would probably be in like maybe the top third of the series.
Oh yeah, no, this is top 5.
It's great,
of just
Robin.
Pure Robinness.
Yeah,
like it's the best we've had in a minute.
I love Ramon.
Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah.
It's great use of Robin. I feel like George directed him well in the booth. Like it's exactly what you want.
Okay, how many Robins out of 10?
This is pretty high up there. Well, especially
like an
because
8.
you have to think that he's doing 3 voices. Well, you said there's like Colin, the lost penguin.
No, yeah, he's doing a lot of voice
Sweetest.
shit. He's narrating. So Lovelace, I guess, is the narrator. Really, it's a whole separate deal. He's Ramon.
I'll give it a 9.
Okay.
I think you have to take away the 1 just because of he's doing a voice.
I mean,
that's what keeps it from being
I think
perfect. That's the nitpick, right?
I don't know. I think the third prong of like intensity of Robin should be ethnicity.
That's what we've been waiting for.
Well,
the third wrong is how much of a
my
different
thing is like,
is he doing?
if you don't see his face, that always takes a little bit away from me. You know, it's like,
Sure.
I want to
Yeah.
see him.
That's kind of the thing. The genius about Aladdin is that Aladdin's face, you can see it.
You mean Genie's face?
Yeah, Genie's presumably got lips, so
Yeah.
that's a point in Genie's favor.
They do a good job with the way they make Genie look, that it's like that doesn't really become that much of a sticking point, because it's just like I see it. Like I see through
honestly, Robin would have a better career if he looked like Genie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
It's the perfect form, because Genie is a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
And he's blue.
He's elastic.
What do you think, Dane? Did you say your Robin's out of 10?
I think
this is
a 9.
This is the intensity of Robin, not necessarily quality.
It's a 9.
Yeah.
It's a 9. It's a good 9.
Intensity of Robin. I mean, it's pretty fucking intense. I think it's just like how milquetoast all the other voice acting really was to me. It just
accentuates it for sure.
Yeah,
it's a standout.
It's one of those things too, because I do think that there's also we've talked about the other thing that makes the Robins out of 10, like the Robinisms, is warmth, and there's a lot of warmth to his character. Like, he also does play in the quieter moments, which maybe aren't as successful like for like while you're watching the movie, but like the moments where he is supposed to play like the confidant to Mumble and everything else like that. Like, he is this warm presence throughout the movie. You're like, we got another moment here with Robin. So that's great.
Finally, Recaging Couch. Where is Nicolas Cage in this movie?
He's all over.
Nicolas Cage is he's the elder penguin.
The
Nick Cage. We're gonna take out Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, get Hugo Weaving out of here.
That's a good one. I think he could be. I wouldn't want to take it from Robin, but I think he'd be a funny Lovelace.
He would be a great Lovelace.
It's a different level of sexual intensity.
Yeah, for sure. way more pussy.
Some might say that it's the sexiest that Nick Cage has ever been.
I think maybe get Hugh Jackman out of here. Put him in there as Mama.
You know, he's kind of doing that in the Lynch movie,
Wild at Heart.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing an Elvis impression. Yeah, for sure.
He can do it.
Yeah, he could do it. Okay.
What if let's put him as Gloria?
Hear me out. So we're in the zoo. Okay. We start to trickle in this subplot of like the world reacting to Mumble. And every single human is Nicolas Cage. They're all Cage.
All humans are Nicolas
They're all
Cage.
Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. Every color.
All of them. It's all Cage.
What if in like the montage we get like Nicolas
face.
Cage playing himself like Nicolas Cage playing himself playing a penguin
Nick Cage
in a movie about this penguin that dances in the zoo?
That's such a good idea. He finds this penguin at the zoo and he takes it upon himself to make a movie where he plays the penguin
to get the word out.
Yeah,
about the overfishing problem.
That's an awesome idea.
That's great.
Like, we're already getting weird with the ending. Let's get even weirder. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
This was just this movie was begging for Nick Cage.
Yeah,
it really did need a lot of Nick Cage. Yeah, Nick Cage would just work perfect, because at the end of the movie, when the montage is happening and The End by the Beatles is playing, at that point, I'm like, my jaw is dropped and I'm like, I give anything to me at this point. So if Nick Cage is just head of the UN during these debates, like, let's go for it.
Okay. Let's think about this. Nick Cage comes to George Miller and he's like, I love penguins.
I love Babe in the City.
I love Babe. I want to be in your penguin.
He loves Babe.
I want to be in your penguin movie. And George is like, look, all my penguin roles are already booked up. I got it locked in. Its contracts are signed. Mm-hmm. I can't kick anyone out.
We were gonna have you in Ramon's posse, but then we found out that he was gonna be named Ramon.
But I can give you your own animal. What is he gonna pick? Nick Cage can make his own character.
A generally Arctic creature.
Yeah. He just comes in for like 5 minutes in this movie as like one of the creatures that Mumble runs into in his journey.
Yeah, there's not a lot of biodiversity in the Antarctica.
So I'm like, we get a leopard seal. What if he was one of the killer whales? The killer whales kind of get shanked in this movie.
If the killer whales
just don't,
they don't talk, right?
Yeah, they don't have any voice or anything. They're just hunting machines.
Yeah, let's give him the killer whale. That would be great.
He would have been one of the. He would have been a great like the flying birds.
He would be, a skoo. What are they called?
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck.
Just some really aggressive predator, just yelling Nicolas Cage, but like
the seal would be awesome if he was coming after him like
yeah, he can only hunt with his mouth open, and while his mouth is open, he's yell,
come here, get over here. I'm so close yet so far.
Get back into my grasp.
What if Nick Cage is a krill?
If we're bringing Happy Feet into this, Nick Cage. I love Matt Damon. What if you replace Matt Damon as Nick Cage? So it's Brad Pitt going through an existential crisis. Nick Cage just like, no,
I want to mean something.
Will the krill, don't do it.
I'm 1 in a krillion.
They say 1 in a krillion so many times.
1 in a krillion,
and their name is Will.
Will, and guess what? You know what Matt Damon's name is? Bill. And they're like, I can't wait to have kids. Jill, Shrill, Frill.
It's a masterpiece.
It kind of rules. I listen. Happy Feet 2 is better than Happy Feet 1. Guys, go watch Happy Feet 2.
You know the only
I don't know.
The only person who will appreciate this
it.
conversation is Harry.
Yeah.
You're playing to a crowd of like you're playing to a crowd of one.
This is like an actual like story. This is like a movie about an actual character.
But listen, I didn't feel existential dread when watching Happy Feet 1, and I did while watching Happy Feet 2. It's like, man, am I just part of a swarm right now?
Real quick, recasting for Elijah Wood. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, not for King.
Yeah,
we aren't taking Robin out of here.
Jay Baruchel, baby.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to train my krill.
We got to make this guy sound more neurodivergent. Freddie Highmore, the good doctor.
I was thinking about that last night, and I think Jay Baruchel was like the name that popped into my head. It's like he sounds enough like a child while also like not sounding like a child.
And he sounds like a fucking dork ass.
You do run into the same problem in Happy Feet 2, where he's supposed to be a paternal character, and it's like, I'm not buying Jay Baruchel as a dad.
Hey, he's got a beard in the later How to Train Your Dragons. He's like, my son.
My dragon.
I bet Jay Baruchel,
like
I bet he does like better ad libs and stuff while he's tap dancing. Like Elijah Wood going like, whoa, that's weird. I don't like that.
So where is Jay Baruchel in 06? What is he doing then? Because that's pre How to Train Your Dragon. That's
that's early days.
I mean, it's post Freaks and Geeks, obviously, but
he's peaking like his like teen movie era. You know
what?
He made a movie called I'm Reed Fish.
Guys,
and has anyone seen I'm Reed
So
Fish?
I'm thinking of another film in 06 that was really big, a big success. What if we got our boy Justin Long in here?
No,
to play Mumble.
Justin Long has
even worse.
He has a deep fucking voice. He sounds like Ernest. You couldn't do that.
No way, dude.
I just want
to see barbarian and Happy Feet.
He's like, no, I had an egg with her without her consent. Like, what is your thing?
Here's a good suggestion. We just saw him in RV, Mr. Josh Hutcherson.
No.
I think he's too young. I think you need somebody who's right around like
Michael Cera, 06 Michael Cera. He's in.
Is Zac Efron too jock?
Yes.
Yeah.
He can't be Mumble.
Honestly,
he sounds cool.
Zac Efron would be great if you like changed it. Like if you
Zac
took
Efron does not
Seymour,
give queer.
No. I'm saying if you took like the Seymour character, and I don't want to take Fat Joe out of this, but if you had another character, I would never take Fat Joe out of this movie.
I see what you're saying.
But like add him as like another one of the boys who's chasing after Gloria there. I think Zach would do good there.
06 is not a great year for movies.
It wasn't
a lot of junk.
It definitely wasn't a great year for like finding the next male actor who's going to be a thing. Justin Long was like the biggest movie star. And then what if we got like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of another movie star at the time. I know Dane Cook to be in there.
Yes.
He's already in Farce of the Penguins.
Shit, he's already booked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, give your thoughts on Dane Cook, Dane.
I'm shaking my head on that. No. I know the kind of movies that I put Dane Cook in 2006, and it's not happy.
I know you've still been writing the studios asking for a Good Luck Chuck sequel after all these years. So
yeah, Good Luck Chuck is kind of what I try to model my life after.
I know every single time that you go on a date, you show them the wheelbarrow sex scene, and you're like, "So can we do this or not?"
We watch Good Luck Chuck, and then we watch it with a director commentary.
Oh, you have
to.
Speaking to the Penguin influence, Jessica Alba is a penguin. She works with penguins in that movie.
Really?
Good Luck Chuck?
Yeah.
She is a penguin?
You guys don't remember that? And Good Luck.
Hunter genuinely used to love Dane Cook.
Yeah.
I mean, 06 was like peak
I was a teenager in the mid 2000s, Drew. I don't know what you want from me. I'm not interrogating the guy now or his acting abilities.
Okay.
Yes, I own Employee of the Month on DVD. What's your point?
I have a very 2006 recast for this movie. Jack Black as the dad.
Lovelace.
Okay.
Oh.
Jessica Alba.
Lovelace is so good.
That's a great one.
Jessica Alba as Nicole Kidman.
So the problem with that is that Jessica Alba is a bad actor.
It's okay. Jason Statham as not Hank Azaria.
A Krill.
No, the Matrix. The Matrix guy, Hugo Weaving.
Oh, okay.
And then in the Mumble role, I lost it. Adam Sandler.
What?
Hey!
No.
Oh, hey!
No.
I'm a tap dancing penguin here.
Also, can we get Lee Pace in there?
Yeah.
I always want to get Lee Pace in there. Just put him in there.
Okay.
All right. Any final thoughts on Happy Feet, George Miller, Robin Williams?
I couldn't shit out another thought about this movie if I tried.
Dane, anything you wanted to get off your chest? All your thoughts?
I don't know if I love or hate this movie. I think it's really some combination. I think there's parts of it that I think are fucking incredible, and there's parts that like my ADHD brain just refused to process. And that's why I had to leave it on for 10 straight hours.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
It should be more neurodivergent friendly considering the subject.
This is one of those movies that I feel like you could like kind of hit the fast forward button a couple times and be fine.
Yeah. There's some really big good scenes, and then there's a lot of just movie filler is kind of what it feels like.
Or like how I watched it last night in a delirious state between consciousness and sleep.
Yeah, with like
and
Lee,
just nodding in and out.
Lee locked in the other room, like banging on the door. Like, let me out.
She was asleep.
I'm sorry, I said it was a kids movie.
She was asleep next to me. She was so out.
I took NyQuil before I started watching it the very first time last night.
Nice.
So I'm like as I'm like fighting the drowsiness watching the movie, I'm like, this can't be real. I like all of this I remember, and I don't get it.
You're like, I didn't get that scene at the end where like all the penguins become my parents and tell me they're disappointed.
No.
Well, thank you so much, Dane, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Is there anything you want to let the people know? Any plugs, any shout outs, anything you want to let them know?
Support the WGA.
Yes.
We don't want more season 2s of Heroes, but we're gonna get it because rich people won't ever fucking learn.
Shut down all your subscriptions. I'm like so close to just like canceling all of my streaming subscriptions just to join the picket line.
I will cross it in a fucking second.
Here's
if
the thing.
anyone ever wants to email me back.
Yeah, I
About
will say
your spec script.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go in there. Okay.
You know what?
It's Friends meets Alien.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good. That's good.
No,
Jot
that's
that down. Jot that down. Jot that down. I will say, in protest for the writers, I will continue to not pay for any of my subscriptions and continue to mooch off of other people that I know.
And that's
It is.
solidarity.
Yeah, that's solidarity right
God
there.
damn it.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
I kneel for the anthem.
During this, shut up. During this recording, my mom texted me like, "Hey, I can't get HBO Max to work. Like, what's going on?" And it's because like it was on a card of mine that I think I just canceled it because I was like, I don't want to pay for it. And I was like, yeah, I think it was on one of your cards.
I think like you're gonna have to start paying for it.
I think
now,
you need
Mom.
to go out there and protest, Mom.
Mom, you love
Grab
the
a
Property
sign.
Brothers.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, if you want to take it over, there's really nothing on there I'm interested in. But
Thank you
Anyway.
all for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment, and let us know your thoughts on Happy Feet. Check out weboughtamic.net for the full archive and get every episode delivered in your inbox. Join the Discord. Donate. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating. Next week, the penultimate Robin episode.
Happy Feet 2.
Night at the Museum.
Nice.
And then the end. Old Dogs. We're finishing off with Old Dogs. You ever seen Old Dogs, Dane?
What the fuck is Old Dogs?
Oh, I guess you'll find out.
I guess I will.
Oh, boy.
Thank you all. Thanks again, Dane. We love you. Bye.
Love you too.
Bye.
Mwah, 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 mwah.